So you're kind of known for kicking off acclaimed series. You did that with Black Mirror and with Peaky Blinders. Was that part of the pitch for this, where you could basically be like, look, I know how to set this up, and it can be like this big boffo franchise?
Yeah, I mean, there was no, we went into this trying to, wanting to create something very new and very different, and anybody going along to see this film, wanting to see the classic Robin Hood story is going to be sorely disappointed. This is, we've picked up this ancient British sort of quaint fairy tale and dragged it kicking and screaming into the 21st century, and wanted to make a film that kind of just, it's a whole lot of fun, and it's a massive, big, action movie, but it's also hopefully, resonates with a modern audience, and you kind of go, oh wow, we've got the same corrupt politicians, we've got the same oppressive religions, we've got the same, injustices going on now than we've always had, and so now more than ever, do we need people and Robin Hoods or Maid Marians to stand up for against the system, or stand up for truth, stand up for what they believe in.
There's been whispers of thief. He's got our commoners looking up, seeing hope.
You talk a little bit about, it has a modern sensibility, not just in its kind of discussion of politics, but also like the clothing and kind of the way they talk with each other, especially in the opening kind of war scene, and even like flank movements and stuff. Can you talk a little bit about the collision of those things, and if there were any films in particular you looked at as kind of...
No, there was nothing we referred to. I mean, this film is historically bananas, and it's, and the purists will tear it to pieces, and the historians will tear it to pieces. But that's not the point. It's a myth. It's a metaphor for anything. So we were very fast and loose with the way it looked, and we wanted it to look. We want it to look relatable. If you tell a story about this small little village or small little town in the north of England, then nobody's going to relate to that. So Nottingham looked nothing like that in the 12th century. Of course it didn't, and there wasn't even mining invented. I mean, all that stuff going on in the mines is complete fabrication.
Sure.
But it makes the film feel big, and therefore it makes it feel kind of global, and it makes it feel relatable, I hope.
So there's been a lot of versions of Robin Hood. For you, which was kind of the most formative or made the biggest impression on you ahead of this one?
Probably Prince of Thieves. That's the one, as much as I grew up with the Disney, Fox one, I still love that, my kids watch it now, so that continues to have an impression on me. But the Prince of Thieves was very much like, I was at the most impressionable age when that came out. I think I was 11 or 12 or something, and it was just very cool.
Sure.
I look back on that and just think that was so cool. And I watched that again before I started this. Not even just for nostalgia reasons, to like get very excited that I'm involved in a retelling of this classic tale. It's very cool. It's one of those cool things to say you're a part of, I think.
So you're known for playing a lot of villains. How did you decide to bring a kind of new energy and like a Mendelsohn twist to the Sheriff of Nottingham?
Look, I mean, it's pretty... they always kind of end up forming up and having their own kind of energy because they're a new and exciting kind of prospect. And I thought for this one, the way that Otto Bathurst, our director, had talked about, where he's coming from and stuff like that, we were able to find, I think, some citrus there to get on the juicer, if you like.
Well, was it all intimidating then to step into Will Scarlet, who I think for especially American audiences is Christian Slater? Like, was that at all intimidating?
Well, it was very strange because Christian and I have the same publicist who sat around there, and we all had a drink the other night, and Christian was there. So, and I don't think he knew I was doing it, so I told him, and then we took this funny picture together of like Will Scarlet's. He was 21 or 22 when they made that. I mean, it's kind of incredible. It was also like 26 years ago, which is, I know, isn't that mad? Isn't that mad? But luckily on the page it was different.
Sure.
Like our version of Will Scarlet was very different to their version. So. Luckily that separation was there from the start, so I could
Well, tell us a little bit about this Will Scarlet, because it is very different from the version I think a lot of us know.
Totally, and I think when we first meet him, he's called Will Tillman. He's a canvassing politician, man of the people, trying to do good for the people, and he is. I think he's a good person. I think he is a good person, but he's also very ambitious and has as much as he has ideas to help the people, he kind of has self-serving ideas as well, and he wants to get to a certain position himself, you know. And you know, there's elements that happen in the movie that sort of change his journey, and from where we see him at the start of the movie to where we see him at the end, I mean, it couldn't be more different. And that was the most exciting thing for me, was that arc that he goes on. You know, it's definitely the most, you know, extreme arc of all the characters in the movie, so that was very exciting to me.
Now, I don't totally have the language with this, so bear with me a minute, but especially the opening scenes in the battle, it kind of reminded me of a video game in just, I think the way we're following the characters or something, it just kind of had that vibe. Yeah. Was that something at all that was a part of the influences?
Yeah, we wanted it to feel like video games, we wanted it to feel like, you know, modern war movies, we wanted it to feel like news footage, we wanted it to feel like, oh, you know, oh my God, this is, because that's what it's about for me. It's about, like, you know, I don't care whether you're, you know, whether you're in the 12th century or in the 28th century.
Sure.
If you're being attacked, it's terrifying. So how do I make that as for an audience member feel as kind of as scary as possible? So, you know, so the guy being attacked in the Crusades is just as terrified as the soldier hiding behind the wall in Yemen right now. You know, so it's the same emotion. So it's about trying to kind of create that same kind of intense feeling.
Right, that kind of urgency.
Yeah, my God.
Yeah, like it knocks you out of being like, you might come in thinking like, oh, I know this deal, I know Robin Hood, and it shakes you up a bit.
I think it does, yeah.
Cool. Well, the first time I ever talked with you was for Slow West, where we talked at length about your lengthy, amazing coat. And now it's kind of become a thing between like this and Star Wars. And I know it sounds weird, I'm like, tell me about your coats, but I'm genuinely curious, is that like, how do these kind of costumes add to your performance?
Okay, what you're going to be happy about is that you are the first person to have ever asked this question, and you're actually onto something. Because we've done Slow West, it had a big old coat. The clothes end up makething the human in a kind of a way when they give you a vibe. You know what I mean? And I think good costuming is about that. It gives you a vibe. So, you know, this kind of very sort of strong, statuesque, sort of heavy, leathery kind of coat, it gives you a certain kind of, you know?
Right, yeah, like it's like as soon as, because the first shot of you in this is the back of you, but it has the coat and the shoulders, and it's like, I feel like it puts us there.
Yeah, right, I like that. I like that. No, I mean, I think, you know, those kind of elements, having that sort of stuff to work with, and when they're strong and distinctive, and you know what, it does exactly what it's supposed to, which is drop into, you know, the mind of the viewer.
And I just want to ask about the coat you wear in the end.
Yes.
What was that like?
Squeaky. I remember it being very squeaky, and but weirdly, I feel like when Ben was wearing it, he managed it wasn't as squeaky on him. I was a bit jealous. But yeah, I actually made me feel quite sort of powerful wearing that, you know, and I think that's the idea, and I think that's how Will felt, you know, like this is like he's deserved of this, and finally people will listen to him and take him seriously, you know, and yeah, it definitely gave me that feeling.
I wanted to ask you a little bit what you can tell us about his dark materials. I know you're going to be working on that.
Yeah, so we're halfway through I can't tell you much about it, but we're halfway through post-production on the first series, you know, which is so basically what we're doing is the first series is the first book, so this is you know the Northern Lights, and then
that's a lot of story.
It's a lot of story, yeah. You know, it's a lot of story, but we're doing 8 hours, so you know we got, and then we're doing another second season, which will be 8 hours again for the second book, The Subtle Knife.
That's very exciting.
Are you a fan of the?
Oh, obsessively.
Are you?
Yeah. So I've been following the everything about that really intensely in the casting.
Yeah, we've got an amazing cast, you know, and you know, and we got Lin-Manuel for the Americans. We got Lin-Manuel playing Lee Scoresby, which is.
Never would have thought of it, but like as soon as I heard it, I was like, that's genius. That's so smart.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's genius. Yeah, and he was brilliant. He was really fun.
So, if there's a sequel, what would you like to see happen in a sequel?
Oh, you know, I mean, look, clearly Robin's got to pay for all this rubbish. You know what I mean? Like, this is the thing about these good guys. I mean, they get away with, you know, the most despicable things. And then there's no one ever there to call them to account. I would like to see them called to account for, frankly, their outrageous behaviour. And they do behave outrageously.
Well, without giving too much away, my character, there's such a big transformation at the end that, like, if we got to do another one, which I hope we do, it would be incredible. It would be such a different journey for me to go on. I mean, it would just be kind of night and day, really, from what we've done with this. So hopefully, you know, on Thanksgiving and beyond, people go and see it to give us that opportunity, because I would love that.
Is there any like major villain role you haven't taken on yet that you might like to? Like now you're the sheriff of Nottingham. What would be the next big dream?
Oh, look, I mean, you know, look, usually it's about, you know, set them up, I'll try and knock them down kind of vibe. But I mean, look, I've always had a thing for Doctor Doom. I've spoken about that many, many times. I think they'll probably end up making a Doctor Doom at some stage. And I mean, you know, you would have to bet against it being me by just the dent of
I feel like
these
put it
things.
out there, man.
But you know, what the hey? You know, I've liked Doctor Doom for a very, very long time.
Fingers crossed. That would be amazing. I'd love to see your Dr.
I'm
Doom.
also like MF Doom too. Well, if we're on it, you know.
Yeah, Dr. Doom, we'll put him in a cape. We're halfway there.
Exactly.
All right.
You're not curious? Who's under the hood?
He's obviously well trained.
You flatter him. He's a smash and grabber, nothing more. Who do you think the thief is?
He's all of us.
You're an admirer.
He has his qualities.